Mike's Daily Podcast.
It is Mike Matthews with Mike's Daily Podcast here at
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton. It's the last place on earth. We're here and we're full of mirth. And I think that I don't have another word to rhyme with the word earth. If I was generative AI, I might have that word, but I don't. So I'm gonna have to just keep singing this.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And then that's how this podcast goes, is I sing a little bit at the beginning and do that kind of thing. So
Mike's
that's that.
Daily
I've got
Podcast.
fascinating stuff.
Yeah!
I'm bringing this to you on Saturday, which also happens to be National Nurses Day. Thank you. Also, it's National Fitness Day. Hey, people, get fit. Thank you. It's also International No Diet Day. So how does that work? No diet? Here's the thing about dieting is, as Garfield said, diet is die with a T. But it is also, if you're always on a diet, it seems like you don't... You need to train yourself to be actually on this diet all the time. Diets seem to be, we do this for a certain amount of time, then we're done. But practicing things like, hey, maybe don't stop at McDonald's. I was just listening to a guy, a business disc jockey, radio announcer presenter, talking about how McDonald's is an excellent investment because it's been around since the 50s. They seem to always be people's default if they need, but yeah. Unfortunately, have you seen people that use McDonald's as a default? It doesn't look like it's doing them very good. And in the end...
And here's today's podcast picture.
We all die anyway. Wait, that's not what I wanted to say. It's also National Beverage Day, and I did not have a beverage as I was sitting on this beautiful patio overlooking Mountain View a week ago, but I thought I would take a picture of it anyway. I sure could have used a beverage. It was kind of warm there. And I must say, the company that I was at, and it rhymes with Schmoogle, they do not really turn on their air conditioning during the weekend. I guess they're trying to conserve electricity. And you've heard about the layoffs and about that horrible... the late great Basil the boxer. He's not horrible. He's wonderful. We miss him. No, somebody took their lives from Google last week. Terrible. Now, I don't know all the particulars, but could it have been because of all the people? Maybe they lost their job? I'm not sure. Today is also Free Comic Book Day. I have partook in that. Usually the comic book stores are giving you a free comic book of someone that you really could care less about. That's not really the thing you were... I was hoping to get this copy of Inkman. Is there Inkman? There should be an Inkman.
Baloney.
But yes, there was a guy I used to run into in Podcastro Valley when I was walking the late great Basil the boxer, and he used to own a comic book store. Really nice guy. I think his name was also Mike. And he had two wonderful dogs, and we would discuss just basically, we didn't go full on nerd, but we discussed the comic books and what it's like to run a comic book store. Not easy. National Homebrew Day today as well. And I knew a guy that would make his own beer. That is definitely not easy, but it seemed to come easy to him. He was very methodical, could do it. He was very concerned about how it tasted, and he created some amazing beer, and he now works for a brewery. And apparently today is also National Start Seeing Monarchs Day. No, we're not talking about the monarchy. And yes, the coronation happened today. And in a different world, I might be talking about, oh, wow, this is an amazing historical moment. Who would have thought that we would see a king become be knighted or kinged or whatever they say. I don't know. Chess is like chess. You king something, and so Charles is now king. And it is amazing because, well, when we look back at when the Queen's coronation, back when that happened, it froze in time. It is such a huge moment in England that there was, when you talk about that period, people instantly think about, oh, wow, people were wearing this kind of outfit. It is etched in time. But this today, I don't know. All people are going to think about is Katy Perry trying to find her seat. That's, I guess, it. But we watched a little bit, my lovely lady friend and I, the video of Camilla and Charles out there waving to everyone. And she said to me, this seems so outdated, this type of thing. And I felt she had something there. And I said, you've got something there, and if you don't mind, you can keep it. But, or whatever Groucho Marx said. Here's the thing. It is a historic day nonetheless, if you're in England. And they're taking Monday off to continue celebrating. But also, there were a lot of anti-monarchy, is that what they call them? That were not really all for the whole, hey, we don't have a king, we don't have a queen. Oh, by the way, so there will not be a king. I mean, there probably will not be a queen for quite a while. King Charles will serve until he dies. Who knows how long he will live, but he is up there now. So maybe he'll long live the king, I guess you're supposed to say. But he could last, 20, 30, 40 years maybe? Possibly. And then the son, not the one that moved to California, but the other one will take over. And then as for a daughter, I don't think that's going to happen for quite a while. So that was for maybe 100 years or so. We may never have another queen again. Who knows? Predictions, that's a very difficult game. Rick Beato, is that how you say his name? The guy who's the musician. I love his YouTube video. I saw him today discussing AI in music. And he's a great musician. He breaks down songs by like Boston, classic rock stuff, Led Zeppelin, etc. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro, Valentino, the last place on earth. You know, even modern day stuff. And he was talking about how AI today, I didn't agree with everything he said, but one of the things that rang true for me, I could see where he's coming from. He predicts that AI today is like Napster was back in the 2000s, the early O's, when college students were downloading music and getting around the record companies, getting around before, you'd have to pay for the song or try and tape it, record it on your cassette off the radio. And then Napster, all of a sudden, music was free. And record companies were, uh-oh. And Metallica was suing because they always got to make a buck. That Lars guy, he's so business-minded. Got to make a buck. Well, and weren't they against reselling used CDs? Garth Brooks was against that, too. Dude, you have so much money. Why? Oh, but it's all about the artists, the people that are struggling. How are they going to make money? So now, in the same vein, people will be able to use AI to create music by artists, well-known artists, that doesn't really exist. And maybe that song will get popular that's created, that Drake Weekend song, for example, that they never got together and actually did. People might make money off it now. Well, the record companies, they'll step in and they'll start suing. And the estate of Drake, just like the estate of Marvin Gaye went after Ed Sheeran, the estate of Drake will go after whoever it was that AI'd his stuff. Now, Rick Beato was saying there will be a time where Spotify, who is the biggest streamer, and also for podcasts, by the way, more people go to that app to listen to podcasts than any other podcast app. Forget about the Apple's podcast app and the Google Play podcast app, Stitcher, TuneIn. They're all in the dust compared to Spotify. But there will come a time when Spotify, with all the money they have, they'll start creating their own AI musicians. So it'll be Drake AI, was what Rick was predicting. Pre-Rick taking tried to make a word there. That didn't exist. So they'll do this, you'll have your Journey. You can listen to your Journey station on Spotify and then the Journey AI station. I don't know. That could be a thing. And then I don't know how Spotify makes money off of that. I guess with the ads. The ads will pay for all this. And I understand that AI does this thing where, see, the way I was understanding it was you give it a command. I want you to make a Drake Weekend song, and it does it. But a friend of mine said, well, no, actually it goes beyond that. It creates it even if you didn't ask for it. And I said, what? Yeah, it's creating stuff all the time. Well, okay. But then I guess the human race is creating stuff all the time. And what gets popular is stuff that just, well, it gets promoted heavily. Somehow it captures the imagination of the people, of the masses, and becomes popular. It becomes, what's the word? Zeitgeist. And it becomes the thing that everyone taps into. I don't know. And all this requires electricity and data and storage and smart computers that exist that do all this work. In the end, who's paying for all this? In the end, who's paying for the electricity and the storage and the space? And there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered. But regardless of all that, thank you to the nurses. They're the ones, the energy that they're using to keep us all in good shape. That's really what I'm concerned with. There's a company called Radio-Links. Radio-Links. That's their website, radio-links.com. And they said the following: AI killed the radio star. As yours truly is in the world of radio, that got my attention. If you believe all the industry trade press about the capabilities of artificial intelligence, it would be very easy to assume that AI will soon kill the radio star. Remember, video killed the radio star? Now AI is killing the radio star. Poor radio star. Artificial intelligence can write copy. That's what we call the script that one reads for a commercial. We call it copy. And voice radio commercials. AI can prepare show scripts and even serve as 24/7 on-air voices. Yes, it actually replaces DJs. But don't turn in your microphone yet, kind kindred radio person. Hosting a radio show is a demanding job that requires a combination of talent, skill, and hard work. Successful radio show hosts have mastered the art of connecting with their audience, building relationships with guests, and creating compelling content that keeps listeners engaged. And I had read this in a previous podcast, so I won't read this again, but the 10 things that it mentioned were authenticity, flexibility, great communication skills, preparation, sense of humor, strong work ethic, empathy, creativity, confidence, and passion. Those are all things that cannot be duplicated by AI. of those, the one that stands out to me is strong work ethic. And AI can work round the clock. But this points out those who win at this game in radio are willing to put in the extra time and effort required to create compelling content and build relationships with their audience. They understand that their success is directly tied to their work ethic and are committed to working hard every day. And the other thing is empathy. Human hosts have a strong sense of empathy like no AI voice can. They understand the struggles and challenges their listeners face and are able to connect with them on a personal level. This empathy allows them to create content that resonates with their audience and builds a loyal following. Maybe that is the biggest one of all of those. But yes, it is a thing. AI. You're hearing a lot of it. I don't know if you have tried at all to use it yourself in some way. In some way, it will... Trying to use technology... You can't fight technology. That's the other thing Rick was saying was... Technology is always advancing. It's always progressing. It's always thinking of the next thing. So you have to use it to your advantage. He didn't really say that, but that's what I'm saying. At some point, radio people had to embrace podcasting. At some point, radio people had to embrace the fact that music wasn't going to get played off of CDs anymore, certainly not off of records anymore or tapes, and that it was going to be playing out of a computer, and they had to embrace that. Some people didn't. Some people walked away from radio at that point. But technology is always happening. There's a guy I work with in radio. He's in his late 60s, and he says, this is not what I got into radio for. Talking about all the digital stuff that he needs to do now regarding computers and downloading audio and using computer systems that grab audio from different sites, etc. He said, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I got into radio for. I'm like, well, I got into radio for the girls. No, I'm quoting probably every rock star. I got into playing music for the girls. No, I got into radio because I liked the sound. I just thought that there was endless possibilities. It was a beautiful canvas of which I could paint on. I got into radio because I loved listening to radio, and I thought I could add something to it. I got into radio because it was an old friend. I thought, wow, I could actually work in this business. It fascinated me. Why do we get into any business that we get into? Yes, money. Well, that's not there in radio. So it's got to be the other thing. You find it fascinating and interesting. But somebody sent this to me and said that retail sales are slowing down amid fear of recession. Small and medium businesses in the first quarter of 2023 struggled to deal with the negative impact of high inflation, which led to a decrease in their sales revenue. In the first quarter of this year, only 28% of small, medium-sized businesses indicated higher dollar sales compared to 33% in the previous quarter, Q4 of 2022. So small and medium businesses constitute 99.7% of all employees in the U.S. and are responsible for 98% of all exported goods. However, profit margins are expected to reduce for small and medium businesses due to a combination of lower pricing power and sustained high input costs in the remainder of 2023. In fact, 46% of small and medium businesses consider inflation as a major challenge. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, retail sales for March of this year stood at a little under $700 billion, down by 1% from the previous month. And economists believe consumers are finally slowing spending as recession fears grow. Inflation and impending recession means tighter financial conditions for small and medium businesses, while staff shortages are leading to hiring headaches. 40% of small and medium businesses are facing difficulties in attracting new employees. I'm hearing that a lot lately, that it is so difficult to find the right employee. Or maybe it's that ZipRecruiter ad. But yes, it seems to be a thing. 40% of those businesses are dealing with that problem, with an additional 21% expressing concerns about keeping their current employees. Even though a lot of companies have had to let employees go. Lots, as we mentioned earlier, Google. In the ever-changing business landscape, automation solutions are possibly going to level the playing field and improve productivity. And as per market research, small and medium businesses can lose up to 30% of potential revenue each year due to inefficient processes. 88% of small and medium businesses believe automation enables them to compete with larger companies. So having to do with AI and automation. And automation, I guess, could be AI depending on the company. Outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valleyton, however, look who's here. They're not automated. Hello, my commercial is Madame Rootabega, and I love the automation. Oh. Do you love autos? Yes. Do you love Automan? Yes. Do you love Autovan something German name? No. I don't know. There's a lot of people I knew in Germany named Otto.
What in the world was that about?
That's right. There was a mechanic I knew named Otto.
Awesome.
And he wasn't from Germany. That's right. He was from Holland. So I stand corrected. Otto van Helsing. Yes, that's not an actual person. But I always wanted to name there's the Ottoman Empire. Maybe that's why they're named Otto.
That's a nightmare of a show.
OTTO.
Live and loco.
And if you type in that, it's a German mail order company.
Okay.
One of the world's biggest e-commerce companies.
All right.
Auto GmbH.
Let's go.
Based in Hamburg. Oh.
All right.
That's the lady you hear at the beginning of the podcast. She lives in Hamburg. That's my cousin. Okay, look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley.
Mike, you seem to be getting a little bit lost there.
Yeah, last. Yes. But you see, I'm only human, and humans can get lost, unlike AI that just goes on and makes things and mashes Drake and The Weeknd together. Drake will forever be known as the musician that got AI'd before everybody else, by the way. Did you think about that, Valentino?
No, I did not think about that at all there, as I was making tacos in the small booth in the parking lot there.
Yeah, parking lot tacos.
Fair and unbalanced.
Did you know we missed World Tuna Day this past week?
Mike, it's Mikey Fikey.
I know. There's some weird stream of thought stuff happening. But yes, May 2nd, that was Monday, wasn't it? It was Tuesday. World Tuna Day was that day. It was also National Teacher Appreciation Day, but every day should be Teacher Appreciation Day, dang it. And you know what today is also? It's your lucky day, because today is the day that Mike Matthews is bringing you the segment, Let's Go Back with Matthews.
Let's go back with Matthews.
Yes, we're going back to a simpler time. A time when, about 20 years ago, before AI, well, there were algorithms, so technically there was a form of AI going on. So, but this is what I was doing. I was at a country station in Ventura County called Chely, and I would do the night shift. I did that for 11 years. And the characters you hear here at Cafe Anyway were formed on this show. Let's listen to a little bit of it, shall we? When radio was fun and interesting and not controlled by a bunch of AI, not being voiced by a bunch of AI, not being voiced by heartless, soulless machines. All this machinery making modern music can still be open-hearted. Thank you, Rush, for pointing that out eons ago. But yes, there was a time, folks. There was a time in the 80s when everybody was using synthesizers, even Rush. And we were thinking, oh, this isn't really music. All they do is press a button and the machine makes all the music. Well, no. You still needed someone to program the sequencer, or come up with the keyboard sound, or create the chord progression. You needed some kind of creative behind the scenes doing creative things. And I'm a creative now. And that term didn't exist back in the 80s, but it does now. So let's use it. So there has to be something that creates. Somebody who pushes the button. Someone who comes up with the idea. Anyway, none of that was involved with what you're about to hear. This your country concert connection, 100.7 KHAY with Travis Tritt and Strong Enough to Be Your Man, Carlene, Phil. Oh, by the way, Travis Tritt did that song after he heard Sheryl Crow's Are You Strong Enough to Be My Man? It was his response to that. Just like Miley Cyrus's song Flowers is a response to Bruno Mars. I never brought you flowers or held your hand. Hours. Yeah, okay. Bastard, just before that. Still to come, Diamond Rio by request, George Strait after Midnight Weekends with Whitney Allen. And our very own Justin Michael is helping Whitney, is actually producing the show tonight. So when you call into After Midnight at 1-800-722-NITE, make sure to say hey to Justin Michael singular, my unofficial brother from another mother. And it is Are You Superstitious? That is the KH Cafe question tonight. Oh, looky here. Matudan, I want to tell you something. Oh, marvelous, and I'm so happy that September the Friday the 29th. What is today, Matthew, darling? It is Friday the 13th. Matthew, I'm so glad that Friday the 13th is almost over with, because nothing has happened to me yet. Ow, what the heck? Oh, no. Ow. Nando, it looks as if you spoke too soon. Don't you think so, ma'am?
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree.
As a business in Ventura County, do you ever feel like...
Straight, carry it away. Just ahead of that beautiful mess, Diamond Rio, Matt Michaels putting a wrap on a Friday and a whole darn weekend, a Friday the 13th. If you're superstitious, you can finally come out from underneath that rock. A big congratulations out to Renee Olstead. You know what? The gal that won at Our Country Showdown beat everybody in Southern California at the showdown in the Chumash Casino tonight. A big congratulations. She advances now to the next level. She won $1,000 tonight, too. Way to go, Renee. You little powerhouse of talent, you. Now, number one on the top 888 tonight was Faith Hill with Cry. On Monday night, in the 9 o'clock preview room, we're going to have the brand new one from the group Hometown News, which we're doing a KH Listener Appreciation Show with on Thursday at the Texas Cattle Company. And also Monday night at the cafe question will be, what's the most interesting thing you ever forwarded on your email? I'll be back tomorrow morning at 6.
Stop the KHAY studio. Matt Michaels has left the building. Thank God.
With the KH Weekend Review.
On the other side, the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you speak into my good ear? We've been to Vegas.
There was a little bit of Star Wars there. Oh, it was May the 4th be with you this past week. Look, Look, says someone on the radio all the time. People, when they're on talk radio, somebody is always saying, starting off a sentence with the word look, and then blah, 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 or so, blah, 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 blah. Anywho, something I've noticed. The Renee Olmsted, I'm sad to say nothing ever became of her. She won that competition, good for her, back in 2000 something, early, probably 2002. But I don't know. I certainly haven't heard of her since then. Have you? Yeah. Oh, well, that sometimes happens. But hopefully she had a fun time trying to get to where she was trying to go, and that she has a great life going on now. Faith Hill, someone else who, what the heck happened to her? We hear more about her husband, Tim McGraw, who pursued acting. Faith did a little bit of acting as well, but she had a song called Cry, which was her big follow-up, or her follow-up to the big song Breathe, Just Breathe. And Cry, people don't remember that song. That disappeared, and that album didn't do very well for her. She tried coming out with another country album after that. I think it was called Fireflies. She had a country hit off of that, but pretty much that's all we heard of her lately. I guess they were busy family people, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. They were busy raising 3 daughters. Maybe that's what they've been up to, but I haven't heard from Faith Hill since. Certainly no big residency in Las Vegas like Shania Twain did, so I don't know. But she was certainly big at that moment in the late 90s, early 2000s. Faith Hill. Cry, not as big. This Kiss, huge, but... And Hometown News was some new band. And I know I got their CD somewhere, but they never turned out to be that big. Oh well. But that's a look back with Matthews. We're going to go a little bit further right now, though, in time for one last thing. We're going to go back 30 years. Yes, all the way to 1993. And this is something that I did. I was listening to a friend of mine who, for some reason, friends of mine get popular, get big in radio. This guy got big. He was on a big LA radio station, on an AM news talk station. He was behind the scenes as the producer. And I called in to say hi to him when he was doing this show. And this was something...
You can dial in at... Well, you really can't. You have to wait till somebody hangs up.
That's not Renee. But this... Renee Dominguez was his name.
KFI. We pick up the tab on that one. 1-800-7...
And I think I called in and I got a cassette recording of it. I found this cassette recently.
Puke on you from drinking too much. Or,
okay.
You know, stuff like that. There's always activity going on. So I can do that. Hey, listen, Mike, thanks a lot for calling.
You bet.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Was that me? No, that's not me.
It is 12:26 here on KFI AM 640. And no, I mean, you got to...
It's exciting.
I don't know. I don't get into it.
It's quick. It's exciting.
I guess if I went... Have you ever gone to a live game?
Oh, yeah. I go to games all the time.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a big Kings fan.
Oh. Now
I'm always in games.
No, I can't do that.
I always wanted to see how they make it into ice.
I'm not there either. Where am I?
You said 10. Time every Sunday. Not just the Cowboys or the Raiders.
That's not me. Kind of sounds like me, but no, that's a woman.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm pretty good, Nick, and how are you?
Oh, wow, that's me. Okay, here we go. This is going to be quite embarrassing.
Mike. Oh, okay, how you doing, Mike?
I'm pretty good, Nick, and how are you?
Excellent.
I have to say hello out to Renee. He's an old friend of mine. We used to work together.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, dude.
Hi, Renee. What's up?
Pretty good.
Still rollerblading?
Still rollerblading. See, he knows I rollerblade and play hockey and stuff like that.
So does Renee like roller derby or what? You like those big husky women bashing each other in that little rink? Whatever happened to that sport? Do they still do that?
You know, I don't know. Do they?
Yes, they still rollerblade.
They still rollerblade?
The T-Birds?
T-Birds. There you go.
There you go. Ooh, that was fun. That was
pathetic group of ladies. Whatever happened to them?
Oh, that was fun. I used to watch that all the time.
I think some of them moved into the White House on our current administration.
Yeah, they did. They did there.
The politically incorrect thing, please.
Oh, sorry. I need a horn.
What? Oh. everybody's a bit sped up there because it was on cassette, and I think the cassette recorder I was using had a wheel that was not turning as fast as it should have. So that was me. All right, you want to hear more? Oh, gosh.
Where's the horn?
You need the horn. Wait a minute. Hold on. He just put the horn away.
I put the horn away, but I have the whistle.
Get the horn. All right, push. Oh, you don't have the horn ready.
I don't have the horn.
Sorry, Mike.
I lost the horn.
All right.
Make a horn sound. I don't know. Anyway.
All right, get on with your...
Well, the thing I was telling the phone man was that I think the baseball, you can identify more with the players because you see their faces. Nothing, I guess basketball too, but you see you see the pain that they're going through when they're concentrating, trying to psych out the batter,
Oh, yeah, the guy out in that guy out in left field, he's got a lot of excruciation on his face.
Yeah.
They look rather bored, actually. Get the ball out here, please.
Hey, that ball moving so fast, I think it should have had a stewardess on it, don't you think?
There you go.
I'm sorry, I'm ripping off stuff from that movie. But anyway, I just called to say that. And that was about it.
That was about it. Well, you said it very well, too,
I don't
Mike.
like bowling, though. I don't know why that guy gets off on bowling. Tennis is cool, but why bowling? I mean, it's dumb. It's for people who like to get drunk and
Bowling's
bowl.
fun. It's fun
Why
to
would you
bowl.
watch guys getting drunk?
Well, it's fun to go bowling. It's not fun to watch it.
Yeah,
I mean, you go bowling to drink. It's an excuse to drink. Seriously. I mean, what else are you going to do when you go bowling?
One time how about hit the little pins that are, down the street over there?
One time I got a strike on the next lane. That was sort of fun.
Yeah.
Why don't you watch a TV show on a bunch of people getting drunk? Like Cheers. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that's something else.
Nick, I think I'm a bad guest on your show. I should probably leave.
That's not a bad idea, Mike.
Any friend of Renee's can leave. No.
Yeah, we can.
Hey, Renee, good luck to you, man.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
When can I usually catch you?
You can catch me here at this time. Like a virus.
I'll listen next week.
All right, thanks for calling.
Nick.
Thanks for calling, Mike.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, this is Nick Federoff. It's 12:40. Hey, you stop telling your relatives to call.
Hey,
all right?
I'm telling you, Hey, Mike, I'll pay you that $5 for calling in later.
Family reunions, he'll do anything to get his name said on the radio. I just can't believe that. All right, let's
Mike,
go to...
I'll send you the check, Mike.
That's what it is. Let's go to Dave in Hollywood now. Hey, Dave, you're on KFI.
Nick, you should play some golf. It's a great...
Wow. Oh, boy. That wasn't me. That really wasn't me. You can't even tell any similarity between my voice and that guy's. Wow, what was I doing back then? And that show was on really late, so I thought I'll just say whatever. Roller derby players in the White House. Not sure. I remember, what was the Drew Barrymore movie? I own it on DVD. I can't think of it now. It was with, Juno. And anyway, roller derby. Not an easy sport. Don't know what I was on. Well, there you go. That's what happens when you hang on to cassettes from eons ago. That's pretty much the end of the podcast today. Little did I know, as I was on one of the biggest radio stations in Los Angeles at that moment for that short amount of time, that I would be playing that back years later on my own podcast, being listened to by you. So I guess what I got to say is thank you. And if you would like to chime in and listen to the name of the phone numbers in the phone that I'm about to give you, if you would like to call this number, you can call 510-228-4640 and let me know what you think about young Mike from 30 years ago. 510-228-4640 and about roller derby players. Was it called Punch It? Snap It? It was the Ellen Page. Sorry about that. Could not think of her name. Ellen Page, Drew Barrymore. It wasn't Blended. It wasn't Fever Pitch, speaking of baseball. Whip It! There we go. Okay, glad we figured that one out. And with more ways to reach me, here's A-Frame.
MikesDailyPodcast. Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!